We've been talking about chronic wasting disease now for more than 20 years, and it's not going away. In fact, CWD is becoming more prevalent every year in south central Wisconsin, and it continues to spread to other areas of the state. Here's a time-lapse look at the spread of CWD from its discovery in 2001 to 2023. CWD sampling is available statewide, and regardless of where you hunt, you're encouraged to have your deer tested, and if the test comes back positive, to discard the meat rather than eat it. Deer carcasses are considered solid waste and should be taken to a licensed landfill or placed in a deer carcass disposal dumpster. CWD sampling kiosks and carcass dumpsters are located throughout the state. If you shoot a deer that tests positive for CWD, you'll be notified by the DNR, and a replacement tag will be added to your Go Wild account. This tag will be valid for the remainder of this season, as well as the entire 2026 season. It's another incentive to have your deer tested. Epizootic hemorrhagic disease, or EHD, is another potentially fatal disease that sometimes affects Wisconsin deer. EHD was first documented in Wisconsin in 2002 when 14 dead deer were found in Iowa County. Each year since then, the number of infected deer has ranged from none or just a few to more than 200, primarily in southwest Wisconsin counties. Here's biologist Zach Haas to tell us more about EHD and a new product designed to combat the disease.
You may be familiar with CWD, but the new virus in Wisconsin is EHD. It's an insect-borne virus that's impacting our white-tailed deer in devastating numbers. So what it is obviously a virus that goes into this midge, a Culicodes midge, that's semi-aquatic, and it needs blood supply to essentially make an egg production. Unlike CWD, where it is passed deer to deer, EHD is only passed from the midge biting a deer. The deer cannot pass it to each other. Typically within 7 to 10 days, the symptoms will start occurring. This can be high fever, you can see a little bit of kind of slime and things like that, mucus coming out of the mouth, swollen eyeballs, and once those symptoms occur, typically 48 to 72 hours, that deer's dead. Over 90% fatality rate, and in some cases wiping out 80% of deer herds where that midge is located. You may be asking yourself, well, where is this EHD midge? Well, since it's semi-aquatic, it's typically located around ponds, reservoirs, streams, creeks, the little cattle ponds, things of that nature. Well, it needs organic rich material to survive, so it's going to essentially these destroyed and impaired water sources to lay the eggs and make that next cycle of the EHD midge. For quite some time now, hunters have realized that water is a major attraction on any property to bring in white-tailed deer. However, what they haven't realized is quality water is what we need to actually prevent EHD on a property. So when we have a pond like this and we have some mud flats, well, that's where the female midge will lay eggs. So when we look down in the water and we find this organics in here, the female midge looks for rich organic matter, which ultimately the larva needs to feed on to develop into, obviously, the big bad EHD midge. Now, a lot of water sources can look good, but that doesn't mean they are good. So when we think about the food chain and an aquatic ecosystem, what we want is ecosystem restoration and obviously a food chain present. Because if it's just a midge, there's nothing to feed on the midge. So water quality is important when it comes to the predators of the EHD midge. So things like dragonflies, scavenger beetles, water boatmen, all those insects and invertebrates need good water quality to survive. What we want to make sure we look into is pond management. How do we make quality water on your property? For pond management, we have to know and understand the process of pond aging, which is called eutrophication. And that's ultimately what destroys these ponds on properties, is lack of management, leaf litter, defecation from animals. All this stuff comes in here and slowly kills the pond. So what we always want to do as a pond manager, aquatic biologist, is to reduce how much of that muck exists here, which contains the nutrients that ultimately will age the pond. In order to do that, what we have to do is introduce beneficial bacteria and enzymes to the water source. That way we can actually get rid of the nitrogen, the phosphorus, things that once again age these ponds. And we do that by adding these microbial heavy workers, you could say, to do the job to get this pond back to what it used to be and to be a healthier ecosystem. Being an avid conservationist, it took upon myself to find a way that we could fight EHD. So working with other microbiologists and people that I've worked with as an aquatic biologist, I developed a 3-part system that's easy for anyone to use. Even my kids can actually put this into a pond with ease. So what we have is EH Defense, the first actual way to help combat EHD. These products have been extensively researched by different microbiologists at UW-Madison, UW-Stevens Point, and also a wide range of different aquatic biologists that work for pond and lake management companies across the entire US. So we know it works. For example, in a case study, the D-muck pellet in here was tested, and what we saw was a reduction of organic muck of 7.21 inches in a single season. So D-muck, along with the other 2 components of the water treatment system, allows anybody to fix their water and help combat EHD.
Want to create the ultimate trophy buck playground? Wildlife Research Center has all the tools you need. Start with the golden rope, designed to create the ultimate interaction site. Add the Magnum Scrape Dripper, drips daytime only to pattern bucks when it matters most. With the active branch holder, you can create the perfect setup exactly where you want it. Create your ultimate trophy buck playground today. Wildlife Research Center, the gold standard.
In Wisconsin, hunting and safe gun handling are more than a tradition, they're a way of life. Thanks to our friends at the Wisconsin Hunter Education Instructor Association who teach safety, responsibility, and respect for the outdoors, everyone can be safe at the range and in the field. Association members represent all hunter education instructors in Wisconsin who ensure every hunt and every day at the range are safe, ethical, and successful for everyone.